Taekwondo is usually known as a tappy sport. The moves, they look pretty cool. All that spinning kicks and those 720s looks sick, absolutely sick. But for the street, I don't think it's an effective martial arts. I think there is much more effective combat sports that you can do if you want to learn self-defense. For example, boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I think those 6 disciplines are a lot more beneficial for street self-defense than Taekwondo. Because in a bar, usually you are in close combat. People are around you and it's a lot of grabbing, jumpers, t-shirts. In Taekwondo, the game is about the distance and the distance management. So in a street, depending on the environment, is not always going to be in far contact. Quite often you're going to be in close contact, especially in a bar. But if you know the knowledge of Taekwondo and you take it to MMA, that is where I think it is absolutely amazing to have those skills. If you use those skills correctly and transfer it into MMA, I find them some of the hardest fighters to spar ever. Just because their range is absolutely impeccable. They can keep that distance. I'm going to get the tools, the little props out. This is you. This is a Taekwondo dude or woman. They are amazing at going in and out. So as soon as you go in, they're going out straight away. And you can never hit them. One of my friends, Daniel Holt, he is very, very hard to spar in the striking elements because he's so good at that range. He's so good at keeping that distance. But this is where, if you don't have the MMA skills, your Taekwondo doesn't really work. And if I take Dan for the example, I sparred him probably 2 years ago. And his Taekwondo was amazing. His MMA, his wrestling, not so much. I did not find him as difficult to spar than I would now. Because now he's got an MMA game and he can put his Taekwondo into place, into his game, because he can wrestle, he can do jiu-jitsu. But if you have no MMA game whatsoever, Taekwondo, for me, is pointless. You can't just do Taekwondo in an MMA fight if you don't have the MMA skills of maybe 1, 2, 3 or 4 years of background to help supplement your training or your fighting style. I look Taekwondo as a great supplement sport. Me personally, I cannot do that sort of fighting style. I wish I could. I'm probably going to start adding it into my game, but I would not recommend Taekwondo as a sport for people to concentrate their efforts on if they want to be good in the art of defending themselves. I find other sports are a lot better at doing so. But if you can use your Taekwondo and put it into an MMA background with your MMA skills, you're going to be a very, very hard fighter to spar and fight. If you look at Michael Page Venom, for example, he is tremendously hard to catch. He's tremendously hard to hit. And the reason for that is his range, his distance management is amazing. And the reason for that is people aren't used to sparring that sort of fight, that sort of fighter. So when you do spar and fight that sort of fight that's so good at keeping range, you're not as used to how they are covering it. So you're not as well drilled and you're not as well equipped for the technique, the application and the knowledge to get the better hand of that fighter. And that's why it's so hard, I believe, to spar Taekwondo guys. But the best way I find there is to spar Taekwondo guys is to not play their game. They are amazing at range. Don't try and play them at range. Try and be more in the pocket and play your game from in the pocket. Because they've been doing range fighting, well, since they've started Taekwondo. That's how we do things around here. Because we're built different, and I'll see you in the next one. Bish, bash, bosh, pow!